Let's bring in Doug Collins, former ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee. Doug, good morning to you. What stood out to you during the hours-long testimony with Merrick Garland yesterday?
The absolute ineptness of our Attorney General. I mean, that's what stood out more than anything. And it shouldn't be just Republicans that are infuriated by those questions. It should be all of America that should be infuriated by the answers to those questions. I mean, to tell me, well, let's get into what traditional Catholic means. What does this mean? And then to go on and opine about, oh, don't accuse me of being, discriminatory, and going on and on when you have the receipts basically saying the FBI were investigating Catholics, were investigating these charges. Again, I think when you look at this and the American people look at this, what yesterday did was crystallize, if not solidify, the fact that the Department of Justice is tone deaf to Americans and that there are two-tier system of justice in this country.
Yeah, either he has no institutional control or he's a liar or some combination of both. But I agree with Jim Jordan. I still have no idea if Weiss has the authority, had the authority, never had the authority, is appointed special counsel, wasn't, why. And that underscores the common thing you often see at these hearings, especially when it's a Democrat in that chair. Why are all these highly educated people all of a sudden forgetful simpletons when they're under oath in front of Congress?
Yeah, it is, and it's exactly right. Nobody knows what Weiss's responsibility is. If not, if he is, Weiss has got a lot of questions to answer. Which here's going to be. I'm going to give you a preview of a hearing. If he comes up here in the next few weeks when Weiss comes, he's going to say, "Well, those are under current investigations. I can't answer those questions." I'm going to give you the answer that Weiss is going to give, because Weiss does not want to be pinned down on why he let these investigations lapse, why he let the timeline lapse, and why the statute of limitations lapse. And these are kind of the issues that people really thought, Carly, this is probably the biggest issue yesterday, that you see that they get in there, they dance, they move, they shuck, they jive, and they don't ever answer questions. And especially Merrick Garland, who just appeared to be the Attorney General without a department to run. He acts as if he just walks in the building and talks about nothing. And to say that he had never even possibly had a conversation about the Hunter Biden investigation with the FBI, that's just, I mean, it's too incredulous on his face to believe.
Yeah. There was one moment where Merrick Garland was asked about whether or not there's a two-tier justice system in the country. And he said point blank, everybody is treated alike. And I think people would have a lot of questions about the memo, about investigating parents at school board meetings, or pro-choice activists being treated one way, pro-life activists being treated another. And because of that, Doug, there is now a real conversation in the Republican Party about whether or not the FBI should be defunded, disbarred, and he addressed that. He said defunding the FBI would leave the United States naked to the malign influence of the Chinese Communist Party, to the attacks of Iranians on American citizens, and attempts to assassinate former officials. I cannot imagine the consequences of defunding the FBI, but they would be catastrophic. Does he have a point there?
Look, he's trying to play upon the sympathies and fears of something that's not going to happen. What needs to happen is people like him, the head of the FBI, Chris Wray, and the others need to be held accountable and fired. I mean, again, they got to be impeached or they got to be taken out. But this is a problem of leadership at the Department of Justice. The 99% of all FBI agents and others who do their job, who do what they're told, unfortunately, by some of their higher-ups who are leading them down these paths, do not need to be researched. They do a very valuable job in our country. And for every time we go down this path of, cutting back funding or defunding, they just simply revert back to the scare tactic. Oh, if we defund FBI, the whole world will fall in. The issue is not the everyday work that they do, which is good work. The issue is incompetent leadership over the past few years and politicization of that leadership that has made Americans, frankly, their own privacy and their own safety less secure, because they don't know how to do their job. They would rather answer to a political agenda than the justice that they're supposed to be dispensing.
Right. Speaking of our security, before we let you go, Saudi Crown Prince telling Bret Baier, if Iran gets a nuke, we have to get one as well. Hasn't the Democrats' insistence on this Iran nuclear deal created this environment? Well, everyone will want a nuclear weapon, making us all less safe in the process.
Yes, thank you, President Obama, for caving and giving in to Iran with his nuclear deal to start with, which I said and many others said was a complete and utter disaster. Now, all they did not even stop Iran from getting the nuclear bomb. They just delayed the time frame, even by their own admission. And then they gave them money. Then, of course, Biden follows up with more money they give them. This is exactly the fear that you have. If Iran takes the bomb, then you're going to have others saying, well, I've got to have the bomb. And it goes down the very path that they, quote, say that they wanted to avoid. That's the problem with the foreign policy of both the Obama and Biden administration, and that is if you're there here to help you, you better be scared, because it's actually hurting you.
Doug Collins helping us out here on a Thursday morning
Thank you, Doug.
by getting up early. We appreciate it, Doug. Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.